Hello and welcome. I'm DAMILOLA OGUNSAKIN and happy World Tourism Day. Today is a World Tourism Day. Every September 27th, it's World Tourism Day. But joining me for interview today, it's a very special guest. Is Pelu Awofeso, a Nigerian journalist, a travel and culture journalist. He's a winner of the CNN and Multichoice African Journalists Awards in the tourism category. Is also often described as Nigeria's foremost travel writer and is a published author. I mean, meeting him is really a big privilege.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Good afternoon.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me today on the
It's
show.
my pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about that aspect of traveling and writing. Why traveling? And why travel and culture writing?
Well, it's a loaded question. Thanks to the audience for joining us. Everything began way back, when I was doing my NYC. I was posted to serve in Jos, and if anybody listening has been to Jos, you will understand why everything began from there. Jos is a very scenic city. It's a very charming town, and then I was on the camp for 3 weeks of camping and orientation camping. I was seeing beauty all around me. And I kept on thinking, how can I convey this to Nigerians everywhere else who are not with me in Plateau State? How beautiful this part of the country is. And I thought the only way I could do it was to write. And I knew I was a member of the press club at the university, so I knew I had some writing ability.
I think that press club really
Yeah,
helps
press
a
club,
lot.
yeah. I knew I had some. So it just took my mind back to, you were almost like a student journalist in school, undergraduate journalist. You could actually write your experiences. And that's why I began to say, yeah, the best way to actually communicate this beauty will be through writing. And then I couldn't do the writing immediately, but I was able to explore the city and some other parts of the state sufficiently in my service here. So I had enough experience of the state to say, yes, I now know a bit of this. So after service was when I now began to write about my experiences. At that time, you couldn't call me a journalist. I was just a freelance writer. I was just writing. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have a media house I was writing for. But I was just writing and keeping my experiences of jobs and environments. And then before you knew it, I began to write for a particular newspaper in Jos. And that's how everything started. It was purely to communicate the beauty that I was seeing.
To people.
As opposed to, as different from what I was used to all my life in Lagos and all my student life at the university in Ogun State. Plateau State was a whole new experience entirely for me, and that was how everything began.
But do you love traveling? Before the writing?
Well, before the writing, I didn't really travel so much, other than travel from Lagos to Ogun State to school. That was it. But I think Jos and the whole environment of Plateau State inspires you to travel. You get it? If you appreciate nature, if you appreciate the natural built environment, Jos will spark off something in you that will make you want to explore.
Do you travel on just the tourism-based projects?
Yeah, largely tourism, heritage, culture, anything that has to do with promoting the beauty and the best of Nigeria is what gets me on the road. Usually they are inspired by certain things in different parts. And then when I get to where I'm going, I find other stories to tell. But they're usually about promoting the best of the country.
You've traveled to so many parts in the country. Now, can you share some of your experiences with us?
Where do I begin? Okay, so for the record, I've traveled to 32 states out of 36.
Wow.
And I often say that the true test of how original or how truly Nigerian you are should be how many states you visited, apart from when you were born, when you lived, when you went to school. How much of this country do you know? Because I'm a better Nigerian because of all the places that I've traveled to. I've been to all the regions, okay? And in every region, there's something different, there's something unique, there's something special that you will add to yourself. So, for example, in Akwa Ibom, in Uyo, I stumbled on the palm wine tapper, an elderly palm wine tapper, maybe about close to 60. He's been doing a palm wine tapping for a long time. And me coming from Lagos and seeing that man on his bicycle, I thought that's the story worth writing. And I chased after him, introduced myself, told him what I wanted to do. He was actually surprised that I'm sure nobody has ever approached the man to interview him before. And it was like, who is this stranger? And I did the interview, and it happens to be one of the best memories I have of the Niger Delta. In Calabar, I did a story on the early days of the missionary in that place, the history of slavery. We had a slave port in Calabar back in the day, centuries ago. So when you're talking about slavery, Calabar is one of the places you mentioned, apart from the Badagry. In the capital of Benue, Makurdi. Makurdi is a charming place. It's both rustic and city. It's almost like a city town. You will see all sorts of villages in Makurdi that makes you feel as if you're in the village. But it's the capital. You'll also see built-up environment. In that place, I went to the central market. Benue is said to be the fruit basket of Nigeria. At the market, I was touring. I like the markets a lot. So everywhere I go to the markets because I think the markets are the critical part of our existence as a people. Yes. A lot of you see a lot of things in the market. It's every day for them.
Like it represents people's culture, part of their culture.
You see so many. I mean, I could focus an entire lifetime on just reporting the markets of Nigeria again. So I was in this market and I went into a shop and I saw this little girl, maybe like 14 or 15. She was selling household utensils, grinder, owls and stuff for the farms and whatever. And we got talking and she told me about the marriage culture of Benue State and all the things that you need to have as traditional marriages. You'll be surprised that to marry a wife in some parts of Benue, you need that thing that they used to grind pepper. That thing, yeah. You need some. She told me some sort of beauty. A young lady like that already knows the culture of our part of the country, and I was educated just listening to her talk. I could go on and on everywhere in the country. In Argungu is where the famous Aggro fishing festival takes place every year. Unfortunately, that festival is not regular anymore, but it's one of the best cultural ceremonies in Nigeria. I went there and you will see fishing in Argungu is a lifestyle. It's what defines that town. It also has a very ancient architectural identity that the emirs of the time used to use. It's now converted into what is called the Kanta Museum. It's far from here. I mean, Benin Kebbi is far up north in the northwest of Nigeria. It was cut out of Sokoto State. You go to a place like that and you just imagine how come Nigerians don't know these things? How come we don't celebrate them so much? How come we don't promote them? Other countries don't have half as much as half of what we have, and they do so much with them. But there we have all of these things. We don't say so much about them. It's very, very painful. And that's what I've committed myself to do. Just seeing these things, reporting them, sharing them with Nigerians, and then for every other person around the world to be interested.
Now, when traveling, do you meet other travelers or you just the only person?
For a long time, my travels are solo trips. I've never traveled and met anybody. When I was traveling actively, there weren't so many travel writers. There weren't so many people interested in travel at the time. It's only in the last 5 years that we began to have a lot of travelers, a lot of young people coming into travel, and that's thanks to social media. Instagram has played a lot of role in that. Of course, Facebook is a standard social media, but because I think Instagram, because it's photo friendly, because it's a photogenic kind of platform, and young people with energy and drive and adventure and style see Instagram as a default platform where they can shine, where they can show off, where they can, let their friends see what they are doing. So they began to travel a lot after maybe university. Some of them in the university they travel. Thankfully, there are fantastic smartphones.
To help.
Yeah. So you do all of that, and then you are sharing it on social media. Your friends are like, "Oh, how did you? Let's go next time." So, thanks to social media, Nigerian tourism is beginning to catch up. It's so organic, and I'm so happy about it. This was something we didn't have access to. When I was traveling, there was no social media. I was only traveling with my notebook, my pen, my digital camera, a very small point-and-shoot camera. And that was it. So if you were somewhere, anywhere, you couldn't post immediately on social media. You had to come back to your base, look at the pictures, listen to the interviews. I had a recorder as well, do some sort of writing before you now begin to think of which platform am I going to publish it on. So it took a longer time to get stories from the real life experiences to
To
the public.
Mm.
But now, within a snap, within the blink of an eye, you can share any travel. You can even go live, from anywhere in the world. That's how that's how good things have changed. And I'm happy that the younger people are taking advantage of that platform, of all of those platforms, to showcase the beauty of our country.
Okay. Talking about publishing, can you share some of your publishing experiences with us?
Okay. Yeah. I'm a travel journalist. I've also been a publisher of travel literature. Because I thought just writing the stories for myself wasn't enough, and just looking for places to share them. I began to see the need to put my stories together in books that could be sold in bookshops and and at airports, at hotels, lounges. So I've published 5 books so far. Yeah, all of them about my trips around the country. I've also at different times published, let's just say, 3 magazines. I'll start one, for whatever reason it will have to stop. I'll start a second one, for whatever reason, after a while we'll have to stop. But I'm actually so I'm on the 3rd publication now. I don't see that stopping anytime. It's called Travel, TRAVU. And anybody who wants to see can visit us on travel.ng. It's purely a way to just continue to document my travel experience and that of other people. With books, I'm talking about my experiences. With a magazine, I'm talking about my experiences and the experiences of other people who are also traveling, who are also documenting different aspects of Nigeria on their trips.
Okay, your readers, how do they actually receive your work? How do they respond to it?
The response has been massive. It's been encouraging because I think actually I'm beginning to travel more for my readers and for the audience who have followed me all these years, who know what I've done. They know me from way back. So they know that once I get on the road to travel and I'm writing stuff, they will really want to see. And to keep them up to date with what I do, we also had to launch a newsletter. Newsletters are now common everywhere. Like I said before, these things were not available, but now easily you can build an email list. You can have people subscribe to your platform, and then so we have the magazine. It's supposed to be a quarterly publication, but COVID-19 came and affected so many things, so we couldn't really do what we wanted to do. We're coming back to it. I think we're going to have another edition in December to celebrate the holiday season when people are going to be traveling to so many places. And already we've chosen a theme for it. It's the Nigeria you need to know. We always hear about the Nigeria you don't know, but we want to take a twist to that and say the Nigeria you need to know, because trust me, majority of Nigerians don't really know their country. It's because the right authorities, the agencies of government, the private sector that should make it that way have not lived up to the billing. And so Nigerians know more about other countries in West Africa, other countries in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East and whatever, because that's where they travel to all the time. They don't travel within the country because nobody has made Nigeria interesting to them. We want to try to improve on that. So with our travel, with our little efforts, we're hoping that we'll be able to win a lot more people towards appreciating Nigeria as a worthy destination. They just need to visit a couple of places and they will be like blown away.
But do you consider your work to be helping to maintain and promote Nigeria's culture?
Oh yes, that's basically what I do. Everything that I do is to promote our culture, our heritage, both our heritage, natural, physical, whatever view, our identity as a people. That is what defines my work. It's actually couched in the broad description of travel and tourism, but at the heart of it is heritage, it's culture. I've reported countless coronations of kings in this country. I've reported. I actually have a book dedicated to festivals of Nigeria. It's called Nigerian Festivals. So if you see all of those works, you will know that what I do is basically to document, like a historian, like an anthropologist, and whatever, the way of life of our people.
Okay. In one of your interviews, you said that you were angry with the Western media's depiction of Nigeria as a no-go area for foreign visitors, and you wanted that to change. Why were you angry? And since you started, have you been able to change that narrative?
Okay, let me start from the last question. I don't think I've succeeded a lot in changing the narrative because if you look at the reporting right now, it even is 20 times more than what it was when I was very angry. I was angry because back in the day, I used to cover a lot of festivals. Okay, I've been to Durban Festival, the Aggro Festival that I mentioned before, the Ojudiaba Festival, all of these festivals. You'll see foreign media in those places. You will see expatriates at those festivals. All of them busy enjoying the country. Name all the notable international media, you will find them at those festivals. So on one particular time at Durban in Kano, I saw all of them, so many. I'm like, these are the same people who paint Nigeria black. But these are the same people who are reporting our culture and enjoying and going who and about the culture.
Yeah.
How do you relate all of those two extremes? So I felt it was unfair for them to always only focus on the negative things or the negative news, bad news coming out of Nigeria, and they choose to ignore or not to promote all of those things that they are enjoying. You are deceiving the public, you are deceiving the world by just focusing on by just promoting Nigeria through a singular prism. So I felt that needed to change. And it was also one of my motivations. I think anger motivates you. It was the reason why I had to keep on doing all of that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have a huge platform. But again, you couldn't just say you wouldn't do what you need to do because you don't have you have to start from somewhere. So I began from somewhere. And I've kept at it, and I continue to keep at it. Unfortunately, with every passing year, it seems Nigeria continues to just derail in the face of the international media because we don't seem to have changed a lot, you know. It doesn't mean that good things are not happening because I continue to see a lot of great things happening in this country. We just keep on feeding the international media's thirst for the bad news.
Are we the ones
and
feeding
that's
them?
what we are the ones feeding them. Who else is feeding them? We're the ones feeding them, and they are seeing all of that. So they see something is happening in the northeast, they capture it. Something awesome is happening in the southwest, they don't talk about it. Something awesome is happening in the Niger Delta area, nobody talks about it.
So it means that the foreign media, they choose to pick
It's a deliberate thing.
what they
very,
want.
very deliberate. These guys know what they are doing. We are the ones who don't know what we are doing. Because we shouldn't be playing to their tune all the time. We should dictate the way we want our country to be seen. Nigeria is not the worst country in the world. Nigeria doesn't have the worst kidnapping case. Nigeria doesn't have the worst murder case. Nigeria is not the worst country when it comes to identity theft, 419, scam emails, and whatever. There are so many countries who do it more than us. There are countries who are known for horrific statistics in rape. You get it? In all sorts of negative things. They don't get portrayed the way Nigeria is portrayed. Nigeria doesn't rank in the top 10 of some of these things. Top 10 countries of all of these things that I mentioned. But Nigeria is the only one. Nigeria is the poster child for all the bad things happening in the world. They don't talk about Mexico like that. They don't talk about South Africa like that. South Africa, Mexico has one of the worst, statistics of everything in this world. But people are going to Mexico all the time. Mexico is being promoted as some of the most fascinating countries to visit. Brazil has some sort of bad things as well. We hear Brazil, you hear about samba. You hear Brazil, you hear about all of those good things. What's going on?
But should we wait for them to help?
That's what I'm saying. We are the ones who don't know what we are doing. Our media is also complicit.
Okay.
The Nigerian media is complicit in all of this reporting. You wake up all the time, and what you see on the media. I'm sorry, Bangad is also here. You're hosting me. I'm just saying that we need to rethink how we report the news. So you don't keep on feeding your people with negative. It's also affecting our psychology as a people. Because you wake up every morning, you look at the papers, at the newsstands, you're seeing negativity all the time. How do you want the psyche of the people to change?
But are you saying you don't want them to report what is actually
Report what is going on. Is that the only thing going on? Report all the things that I'm not saying don't report the bad news. People need to know what is going on. But again, the negative news development doesn't define Nigeria. You get what I'm saying? For example, Nigeria has hosted two of the most remarkable festivals since August, and right now Olojo Festival is going on. I've not seen so much report about the festival. Osun Osogbo ended in August. I didn't see the media play it up as such. mind you, Oshobo brings so many international tourists to Nigeria. Those are the ways we should be promoting what is going on in our country. But those things don't seem to matter. You know, we keep on thinking that top politics is what we should be reporting. You know, so some of the things that we report is what the Western media also pick on to report. So they just like they have their own resources and the crew and whatever to, you know, to make it accessible to a wider audience, and because it affects our perception in the minds of the world. So that when people hear Nigeria anywhere in the world, what comes first to their mind is the Boko Haram, is the kidnapping, all of those, you know, all the bad things, because that's how we are being framed around the world.
Okay, let's talk about your next project. Now you're set to produce a documentary on the exploit of Samuel Ajayi Crowther, that's a late bishop and Yoruba linguist.
Yes.
Now, so why this decision? Because I'm so curious to know why.
But did you know about the man?
Yes, I actually did know. I've gone to Badagry before.
Oh yeah, you
I
have.
went when I was actually very little, and
Not
you know, I did
story.
climb the first story, and I remember then my leg was shaking. I was scared to travel, and I think I got the book then, the Bible to read.
Oh yeah, so okay, good. So
we did. I've even drank from the river.
Oh, from the well.
From the
yeah,
well.
So those are the experiences that you have in Badagry where you go. So quickly, this is a milestone year for Bishop Ajayi Crowther. He died 130 years ago in 1891. So by December 31st, it will be 130 years since he passed away. June this year makes it 200 years ago that he was captured as a slave. And because we know Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther today, and we've known him as we were growing up because he was captured to become a slave. If he didn't get swept up by the slave raiders, we would never have heard about him. His name would never have been known to the world. But his journey was defined by that singular act of kidnap and capture. And then he began his journey as a missionary. I felt for a man that was renowned in his time, in the 19th century, who accomplished so much. We don't know we don't even know next to nothing about Bishop Crowther. If you know the extent of the things that he did in his lifetime, he died at the age of 82. For the better part of his life, he committed that to selfless service. He served humanity. He helped us to transform. For Christians in Nigeria, Nigeria has maybe about 100 million Christians. This man was responsible for translating the Bible, not just into Yoruba, but also into Igbo language, into Nupe and some Hausa. You get it?
Yes.
He did so much work like that. He was a translator, he was a linguist, he was an educator, he was a missionary. He didn't just even promote church and missionary and Christ and Bible alone. He also was so invested in encouraging the faithful, the people that were converted, to be commercially minded. He set up skills acquisition centers in different parts. So it was not just about church. He believed in church and hard work and labor. You know, so he didn't want you to keep on thinking that church is the answer to everything. He was setting up people to be able to learn how to do things. You know, so again, I was inspired by the milestone year. I was also inspired by the fact that all over the country there are landmarks in his name that many people don't know. He also traveled extensively in the country. Then it wasn't Nigeria, but now they are all part of present-day Nigeria. Bishop Crowther traveled. I think he was one of the earliest travel writers. He also wrote a lot about his experiences. But those writings are not the public doesn't know, because it's not somebody we bother about. But it is also because we have not seen, we've not been told half of what this man did. If we got to know a quarter of what the man did in his lifetime, I think we'll have a different perspective. We will actually appreciate it more as a model, as an inspiration to actually copy from, because he embodied so many things. He personified so many things that the world needs today. So he's an unsung hero. And I'm hoping that by the time we are done with the project, we will be able to bring the story and the importance and the relevance of Bishop Crowther to a whole new generation who people just know him by name, but who didn't know him by deed, by things that he did. You know, and so our journey our trip, our adventure, our expedition is going to take us to about 12 states. Because the man traveled to all those places. And many of the times, he didn't have, there were no cars, there were no planes, there were no helicopters, there were no trains. They were walking, they were trekking massively. The best that they were able to use when they didn't need to walk was to go by boat. There were so many, there's a lot of lagoons and waterways and whatever. And then at some point, they would use horses. You get it?
Yes.
So it was a combination of horses, boat rides, and trekking. Serious trekking. Imagine trekking from Lokoja to Lagos. He did that. Yes. You can't trek from Lagos from Ikeja to CMS. But see, Bishop Ajayi Crowther, back in the 1800s, where there was no sophistication of anything, they were doing this because they wanted to serve humanity. Forget about the things people say that, okay, well, he mistranslated some words into this and that, and it's the reason why Yorubas are calling Satan issue. We cannot crucify him on just a few things that he didn't get right. We need to see him for all the good things and the great things that he did. And I'm happy that we have the opportunity to do that.
Okay, so the objective is for people to actually
just know the man that died and the things he did.
But this is some of many of the interviews and things you've written. You actually do this on the self-funding. But why are you crowdfunding for this, Ajayi?
Yeah, you're right. Yes, because it's a very huge project. For all my previous travels, it's always been a solo trip, self-funded. I would put my money together and travel because I needed to go somewhere. I've never been fortunate to get corporate support. I've never been fortunate to get grants to do the things that I want to do, even though I'm doing some very important documentation work for Nigeria. So I thought that with this particular one, I really would like it done. But if I wait to get a grant, it will never be done. If I wait to write proposals to the corporate society, to the corporate world, it will never be done. If I write proposals to the government agencies who should be funding or be interested in things like this, it will never be done. I now said my last hope, I'm just counting on my friends and my family and the people who have followed my work for so many years to make sure that, look, I want this to be a people project. I want the public to see the value of whatever we're trying to do. It's not about me, it's about Bishop Crowther. Left to me, I've always done my thing by myself. But now we're taking on the subject we're taking upon a subject that is so huge for my own shoulder to carry. And I think Nigerians appreciate the man from the little that they know and from the little that I've been able to share about him. And I see the love and the acceptance and the encouragement already that people are saying, like, this is good. We are happy that someone like you is taking it up. We'll support you. So it's the reason why I've gone the crowdfunding route. I'm not the first time to crowdfund for a project. People have done it all over the world. People have projects and they think this needs to be done. They don't have the right funding for it, so they go to the people. People don't even need to know you to support you. All they need to do is to see that what you are trying to do is worthwhile. It's something out of a need that society has, or something that you want to contribute to society, and they go ahead and support. So we've announced the project officially today, and we are raising money for 30 days.
So how much are you raising? What's the target?
Let me try and break it down. So there is for standardization purposes, we are trying to raise $95,000. Yes, and all things considered, because we're going to be traveling, 6 of us, for 10 weeks. We'll be going to, like I said, 12 states. We'll be traveling. The 6 people that are traveling are going to be, some of them are going to be film crew. I'll be the one leading the documentary project. Film crew, so many things to pay for, accommodation, logistics, and all of that. Post-production, you have to pay everybody who is working. We want to bring out something very, very, very standard, because we watch documentaries all the time about different individuals around the world. Some of them are people from the 16th, 17th, 18th century, and we enjoy those documentaries. Why can't we do documentaries about our own heroes from the 18th, 19th, and 20th century? I'm hoping that by the time we are able to finish this particular one on Bishop Crowther, it will open the door or the floodgates for people to take up other projects of that nature and focus on other personalities and other individuals who did things in the past because we can't just allow those people to be forgotten because we are chasing after our recent, you know, everything recent. We have a history, we have a past. We need to bring all of that to the world to also appreciate. We can't just be fed on Western personalities and Western agenda, Western values. We have our own. There are so many. And this country had empires in the past. How much of that empire story has been told to us? If I wasn't traveling a lot, I wouldn't even know anything about those empires, about those kingdoms. You know, and the thing is, all of us know them by name, but we don't even know what they stood for. We don't know what happened back in the day. But the records are there actually. If you go to the archives, you will see the records. But many people can access the archives. So we need people like myself, all other historians out there, everybody conscious of the fact that we need to begin to tell these stories. We'll be digging into, I've been researching Ajaikara since January, because this idea occurred to me in January. So imagine when it is manifesting. I've spent time researching and reading and trying to figure out where am I going to get the money from. That's why I'm saying that I really couldn't find any source of support. Is the reason why, while talking to a friend of mine, we both decided that I think the best way to get this thing done or to get the word out there is to crowdsource for it. Okay. And that's what we've done already.
Okay, we really need to round up now, but you've actually, this is not the first time you're focusing on important personalities and all that. Are there any challenges that you actually face when doing this apart from this one?
No, well, challenges is, let me just say, so I've focused on.
I think I saw Mary's lesson.
Mary's lesson I did in May. I traveled all the way to somewhere in Akwa Ibom, Itu Hills. Mary's lesson was going to actually work a lot in Calabar, but later in her life, she went to Akwa Ibom side, Itu and whatever, and that's where she died. And at that time, people were not, we really didn't have facts about where was she buried. Because we have two claims, that she was buried in Akwa Ibom and then somebody said she was Aggro. But I think in actual fact, she was buried in Calabar. But I needed to find out. I needed to follow her footsteps to know exactly how it is, and I got a lot of stories from that part of the country. Long ago, I did the same thing with Mandam Folio. Mandam Folio was the one who founded the Sokoto Caliphate in 1804. You know, I did that long ago, and I've done quite a bit again. So the thing is, the challenge you will find are people maybe not willing to talk. People are like, I don't want to be on your whatever, I don't want to be recorded, I don't want to be interviewed. Some places you need to get information from maybe the archives or from palaces or from known individuals, older people in the community. But again, it takes a while for them to trust who is approaching them for information. Some of them always have to be very, you know, I mean, imagine me going to Sokoto and Kebbi. I don't speak the language. I mean, I get by. You know, people will also be suspicious. What's a Yoruba guy trying to do follow story about this, about jihad man and stuff? But again, persistence and a bit of diplomacy helps me to get some of the things that I need to get. Okay. So it's been largely fun and fulfilling.
I can see just from your stories, and I'm even enjoying it. I really don't want to go this way at time. But I would like you to just say very short words to the young writers coming up, those who travel writers and all that. Just a short advice to them.
Okay, to any young person out there who wants to take up travel writing, don't go into travel writing thinking you're going to make a lot of money from it. There's no millions to be made from travel writing, and there's no millions as such to be made from any writing at all. Write because you believe you want to add value to society. There are so many stories that need writing that people are not writing. I like that so many young people are coming up. I mean, I get a lot of requests all the time that I want to go into travel writing. Please mentor me, advise me. I've been doing that a lot in the past 2-3 years. You know, again, having the interest in travel writing is not the same as having the dedication to the craft. You must always self-motivate. I was self-motivated. I didn't have a travel writer that I was looking to, apart from the ones abroad. I didn't have anyone here. So I was taking inspiration from the writers abroad and imbibing those things and then letting that propel me to do what I need to do for Nigeria. And that's how I've been able to do it all these years. So I want the younger people to also see that there's no shortcut to this. You have to do the work. You have to stay on it, and you have to be committed for the long term. it's not a short-term race.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to your documentary. I mean, I really don't want to end it because we have to end it. Thank you very much, Pelu Awofeso.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for listening.
And of course, we've been with Pelu Awofeso. He's a Nigerian journalist, travel and culture journalist also. He's a winner of the CNN Multichoice African Journalists Award in the tourism category. He's often described as a Nigerian foremost travel writer, and is also a published author. And of course, today is World Tourism Day, and we are celebrating him and all the travelers out there, and also, we are celebrating Nigerian culture generally. So, of course, to get more of the stories and many other things, you can always get to him. I think you mentioned the site earlier. What was the site?
Okay, it's travel.ng, TRAVU.
So I guess that's where you can go to also if you want
to get all the information
to
that
donate.
You can donate right there on the page.
Okay, so definitely you can go there. And of course, to get more of our top stories, you can visit us on our website, www.vanguardngr.com. Also, follow us on all our social media platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is DAMILOLA OGUNSAKIN, and it's been lovely being here to do this with you.